All right, y'all. Welcome back. Welcome back to another episode. To another episode of your favorite WMMA podcast. Hashtag CB99 Talks. This is episode 126. Of course, I'm Combo Breaker 99. Feels like a minute since I dropped one of these episodes, but as you know, things get busy, things get live, and I just gotta make moves sometimes. Just gotta do what I gotta do, then come back around and see y'all in a few weeks or so, right? But yeah, man, we back with another one, y'all, and I've been on the channel, of course, talking about a lot of things going on, and yeah, there's a lot of things to catch up in this episode on as far as fights that took place. As y'all know, I like to jump on these episodes and talk about some news that's going down. Some of the current news that's going down in the WMMA world. Of course, I like to recommend fights that I watched over the weekends. You know, especially if it's like underground fights. That a lot of people don't follow. I like to kind of wise y'all up to some of these fighters and who to look out for. Who to look out for. So yeah, that's what I want to do in this episode. I just want to kind of run back through the previous weekend and talk about some of the Bellator fights. The United Fight League underground organization had a couple of fighters I was checking out there, and of course, Combate is starting to it's starting to grow. Combate is starting to grow. They got a lot of atom weights over there, and you gotta give these girls props. They're always trying to be active over there. So I want to talk about some Combate and ADCC. Rose Namajunas made her debut there at the ADCC Open. So I want to talk about the fights this past weekend, of course, and some of the fighters that got cut. And yeah, this episode, the next half is kind of focusing on the strawweight division. The strawweight's getting shaken up a little bit. We got Rose over here competing in grappling. Kind of wondering if she's like going to make this huge return. Is she really trying to find this new competitive spirit in herself? Is she trying to become this, solid grappler now with these well-rounded skills? She was always growing towards a well-rounded fighter, right? So we got to talk about that. Zhang, her thoughts on a fight with Wei Li. She kind of sees herself as the enemy or the villain, if you will, in that type of fight. So I want to, discuss that question. I want to go back to Marina Rodriguez and talk about her a little bit. She's one of my favorites. So I just kind of want to make some constructive criticism as far as her making her road back to the top. Andrade, same with Jessica Andrade. Like, what's next with these fighters? Because, like I said, you got some fighters that like to make some improvements, like Rose Namajunas. They're taking that right road. But then you have fighters like Marina and Andrade, who are in the mix right now with all these other fighters that are growing that need to, they need to keep up. They need to keep up right now, because I think at some point you will get figured out, right? So I want to talk about them. And of course, Wei Li Zhang and Amanda Lemos. We got to discuss that fight a little bit, right? We got to talk about that on this episode because that's one of the biggest fights I think we all are looking forward to, right? Got that. And this weekend, we got 4 WMMA fights. Probably by the time I drop this episode, I've already done like a live stream, kind of giving my picks on them and just letting y'all give y'all's picks. But I just want to talk about the fighters in general in this episode as well. So yeah, man, it might be kind of a long one, but hey, stick it out with me, guys, and y'all won't be bored. Y'all will not be bored. So yeah, first up, this past Friday, we had Denise Kielholtz make her return against Paula Christina, who was making her debut. And this fight came on at an odd hour. I was, about to go into work, and the fight card was already up to like, I believe the co-main event or like the main card at like 3 in the afternoon. They done ran through like 11 fights. So I just had to turn this on, and I came in on like the second round. So I just went back and watched it. And Denise Kielholtz, she 30-27, Paula Christina pretty much, Christina pretty much, she just took her to school on the feet. Saw some improvements in Denise Kielholtz's approach. She wasn't straight come forward. She was measuring with her jab a lot in this fight, fighting off the back foot, just keeping her range. Stepping side to side a little bit more, leading with her left hook at times because she was fighting well off the jab, throwing in some nice combinations too. Just a well-rounded kickboxing game. Good kicks, very very good sharp 1-2s, just keeping Paula Christina at bay with these long arms. Like Denise Kielholtz is kind of short, but she got these long arms, you know. So she likes to stretch that jab and that right hand to follow. So she was doing a good job in this fight. Paula Christina tried to hold her own. You know, she tried to come back with combinations and step in, but every time she stepped in, she would pay for it throughout these rounds. You know, she just didn't have the striking IQ of Kielholtz. And that's the one thing, like I said, Kielholtz, if a fight is standing, she can win it. That's why she is the Bellator kickboxing champion, because her stand-up game is solid. You know, she's got power, she's got an IQ, she's very, very smart when it comes to her punch and kick selection. But when it comes to MMA and making her well-rounded game, I think her ground game has improved, but sometimes she can kind of go to sleep in some of these positions and she'll get submitted, you know. So hopefully that's something that she's working on, and then they could test her against one of these other lower level grapplers to see how far she's come along. But at this point, with the way things are looking, I would like to see her run it back with Juliana Velasquez now. You know, Juliana Velasquez still coming off back-to-back loss to the champ, and she's kind of in that position where she has to fight down. I think that would be a good fight. Or Denise Kielholtz versus Justine Keach, some of those fighters that would give her some trouble on the ground, you know, somebody like that. But yeah, good job on Denise Kielholtz. Always an entertaining fighter to watch. I enjoy, you know, her explosive style. But this one, she kind of measured herself a little bit more and fought a smart fight. All right. And then going to Saturday, we had this UFL. Shout out to Brittany Cloudy. She was making her debut with this organization. It was at a catchweight fight. And I think they're in like this bantamweight tournament here, because we have Veronica Smokova taking on Kayla Yontev, which was a good fight. I've seen Kayla Yontev fight in Invicta once, I believe, and she trains out of Jackson Wink. So, you know, she's trained with fighters like Michelle Waterson, Natalia Spees, Holly Holm, Clarissa Shields, and all of them. Veronica Smokova, kind of new to her, but after seeing her fight, I was a fan of her in this fight. You know, both of these girls, they came to slug it out. I just think that Smokova overall had the better straight punches, the more harder, dominant right hand in this fight. She drew blood on Yontev early on. Uh, I think Yontev wanted to just go toe to toe, but Smokova fighting smarter, you know, fighting off of her long straight jab, keeping the fight at a distance, and even like smothering a lot of Yontev's punches on the cage, and a lot of good reversals on the cage. So yeah, I think she pretty much won the fight 30-27. Smokova did a good job of just, you know, boxing it out on the feet, throwing the harder, stiffer combinations down the line, and just keeping sharp. All right. And then going to Brittany Cloudy and Claudia Zamora, same thing here. Brittany Cloudy put on a pretty much put on a striking clinic. Very good striking clinic by Brittany Cloudy in this fight. You know, she did a good job of, you know, just keeping her straight punches out, using her length, and walking down Zamora. You know, Zamora was doing a lot of like spinning attacks, you know, trying to do spin kicks and things like that. Just very awkward, but Brittany Cloudy knew how to like measure her and just walk her down and just keep, you know, ripping into her with her straight right hand, and, you know, switching stances a lot, and just homing in with those good kicks and strikes. So yeah, another good striking performance. Me as a striking fan, you know, I love this type of stuff. I love this stuff. But I definitely want to see Brittany Cloudy return, you know, as soon as possible. I believe she has another fight going by Tapology. She has a fight coming up in like June or July. So yeah, we'll see what's next. But yeah, shout out to Brittany. Yeah, y'all need to check out her little podcast too, called the Mental Podcast. You know, she talks to a lot of fighters. I got to sit down and binge watch them again, man, because I caught a few of them, but I got kind of, you know, I kind of fell behind in them because, you know, I've been busy. But she's interviewed a lot of good fighters. You know, some of the people I interviewed too. You know, she's interviewed Natalia. I think she's interviewed Natalia Spees, I believe. I know she's interviewed Lauren Murphy, Aaron Blanchfield, Tanisha Tennant. A lot of fighters she's been interviewing on that show. So yeah, definitely check that out. I need to start posting them on my channel so y'all can check it out, because yeah, you know, she tries to delve into like the mental status of people, you know, really trying to stay sharp mentally, because that's a big part of the fight game. You don't always talk about that over here. We talked about it before when I interviewed her a couple of times. So yeah, tune in. Definitely tune into it, guys. What else? Let's see here. Hold on one second. Oh yeah, Combate Global. Combate Global. We had two good fights I was looking at, two atomweight fights. Katie Perez versus Fanny Arrozo, and Chihiro Sawada versus Anna Palacios. Or is it Palacios? Palacios, yeah. that turned out to be a banger, man. That turned out to be a banger. It went to decision, but that was a banger for the Japanese fighter Sawada, man. Like everybody was thinking that Palacios was going to win this fight, but nah, man, this was a good fight right here, and it was almost like a clinic a bit from Sawada. But going back to Katie Perez and Erozo, Katie Perez, she actually got her finish, third round rear naked choke over Fanny Erozo, man. Perez was just in there grappling. I mean, she was striking a little bit, but she was really like pushing her way in, just bullying Fanny throughout these rounds, like just bullying her until she would get her down to the ground and just trying out any type of submission move she could get, looking for top position, landing some ground and pound, just trying to soften up Fanny. And I think that pace was really like agitating her. Like she was pushing her against the cage, just doing a lot of bullying to this girl, man, and just handling, making easy work of her, throughout these rounds. So shout out to Katie Perez because she's been looking to fight, man. She's been looking for a fight, and the minute one fight is done, she wants to get right back in. And yeah, like as long as you're winning, like you could take these fights as quick as possible. As long as you're learning and you're getting better, you're not taking a lot of damage, you can come right back. And that's what Katie Perez is doing, man. Like she's working on her strike and working on her grappling, and the way she was just like putting a lot of muscle on Fanny in this fight, I was impressed. Even with how she was getting these takedowns, she pulled her down, uh, command for that top position, look for these submissions, and then in that third round when she just wore it down, she just eased her way onto the back, locked in that rear naked choke, and Fanny was just forced to tap. So yeah, good on Katie Perez to get another victory through combate. Like I said, eventually, man, these atom weights, they're gonna make some noise. They're gonna make some noise, man. So Chihiro Sawada versus Palacios. Ooh, that was a good fight, man. I might actually have to go back and do like a breakdown video on that one because this Sawada, she looked good, man. Like she was just like coming in with this wide stance and just kind of like this weird in and out style, just landing these little like kicks, touching the leg here and there. Palacios, she was landing a few punches, like a good right uppercut. She opened up a cut on Sawada, but right away Sawada just like dropped the level and took Palacios to the ground and was just doing some good work in the guard. Like Palacios wanted to be active on the back, but Sawada, she was just like control. She was in control. She quick in and out, jump right back in, like some hard ground and pound. Palacios was trying for these submission attempts, but Sawada was just like escaping them and just controlling with her wrestling. Then that second round, like her tricky footwork just started to really make it harder for Palacios to tag her. Every now and then, like Palacios would like start to control the fight with her with like these leg kicks and right hands. But the minute she started going to the body against this wrestler who keeps like a low, like a keeps like this low stance, she dips low. Sawada will catch it. She caught the body kick, took her down, and just started landing some good shots. Just started landing some good shots, and I think she got like 3 takedowns in the second round. Like Palacios started out, winning the round, in my opinion, with her striking. But then Sawada just started using that wrestling, just ended the round with a third takedown to just control the top position. Then the last round, she just, dove in first minute of the round. Palacios wanted to try to lock in a guillotine to get Sawada as she was like being reckless. But Sawada, she just started using her grappling, being too slick on the ground, slipped into a half guard and just kept mauling Palacios. I thought Palacios would have been the stronger fighter in this one, but now Sawada was just in full control in this fight, man. She owned this round. I believe like she drowned her for like 4 minutes. So yeah, it was like a clear 30-27. So moving on from here, man, I want to see more from Sawada, man, and Palacios. I want to see both of them in like Invicta. And eventually, like I said, I want to see the UFC starting to sign these girls like to an actual 105-pound division because they were putting in some work. Man. This Sawada, I think she's got some good, well-rounded skills. So yeah, we need to see more. I believe she's undefeated too. So yeah, definitely go back and check that fight out on Combate Global, y'all. It was definitely worth checking out. But yeah, like I said, pretty much over the weekend, the UFC had a couple fights, which I talked about already in a live. Unfortunately, she got submitted by Lisboa, who was making her debut. That fight was good. That was a good debut for Lisboa. Went in there, showed a well-rounded game. Good stand-up Muay Thai game, and ended the fight with a submission. The the Mandy Baum and Jin Yu Kim fight, it was just like, oh man, like what is Mandy Baum? What was Jin Yu Kim doing? Jin Yu Kim was going in there and just doing all of this like extra stuff. She was fighting off emotion too much, man, and it cost her the victory, and it cost her the UFC contract. You know what I mean? Like the possibility of staying afloat. So her and Jesse Jess, unfortunately, they've been cut. They've been cut from the UFC. So what's next for them from here? I already talked about it. Bellator, if that, So yeah, that's all we can say from here, y'all. So yeah, let's jump. Let's jump over here from atom weights and bantamweights, flyweights. Let's jump modes to let's talk about straw weights, and we'll start with Rose Namajunas. Rose Namajunas this past Saturday, she was able to take the bronze in the women's absolute division at ADCC Denver Open. Okay, so looking right here, it says, let's see, the UFC fan favorite took bronze, losing out to Helena Creever, who took some multiple gold medals. Meanwhile, Jasmine Rocha, who completed the open class women's podium with a silver medal finish, also took silver at that weight. Okay, so yeah, she came in short against John Danaher's protege, Helena Creever, and she came away with the bronze. Okay, so yeah, I guess it didn't sit right with Rose. She wanted to step in and do some fury grappling, and she wanted to do that type of competition. She went right in against a deadly jiu-jitsu practitioner and Jillian Robertson, which I figured she think it was wise because she's a UFC fighter. She's a UFC two-time champion, but this world is different. So sometimes you kind of have to take baby steps. So I think Rose is doing the right thing to just kind of step it down here. There's some veterans around here in this area, but I think without the lights and the cameras and the flashiness of the promotion, sometimes you just need to step it down and be humble and take on competition on a level like this. It kind of feels like starting at ground zero, like you have some type of karate competition, wrestling competition. So I think that's good on Rose to just work on this type of level. And you see she came away with the bronze medal. All right, so I think with a lot of this grappling experience for Rose, I think that it's a way of trying to get back into the mix of finding the fire again. Sometimes it helps her competitive spirit, I believe, because sometimes I guess you can kind of burn out. So you have to go back and find inspiration, find a new level to learn, and come back and show it off. I think that might be Rose's plan, is to go back and be a better grappler, be a better jiu-jitsu practitioner. So when you go back into the octagon, you can show a different level. Because we know Rose as kind of a well-rounded fighter, but we know her as a striker too. We know she can finish people on the feet, right? So she probably wants to come in as like this more physical type of grappler at some point and earn her stripes again in a different way and be known for something different. She gets submissions. Yeah, she submitted Angela Hill. She submitted Paige Van Zandt. I believe she submitted Michelle Waterson. She submitted a lot of fighters. She submitted a lot of fighters. She finishes a lot of fighters. So I think that it just comes down to adding more to your arsenal, getting better in the field that you feel like you need to step your game up in and kind of go from there. So yeah, I think Rose is just trying to rebuild and get the spirit back before she makes another run at a title, because I think with Rose's competitive nature, even though she can kind of step away mentally sometimes, I believe that she needs like this type of incentive, and her motive is always to fight for the champion now. Fight. She doesn't really like to step down because there's no motivation in that. To me, that's what I believe. I think that she knows that she's elite, so she always has to add more and more to her game, so she doesn't just fall off or fall down the ladder like you see some fighters do. They just keep coming back, and coming back, thinking the same thing works, but they don't sometimes. So you got to reinvent yourself. So I think Rose is doing the right thing. The way some fighters need to go become boxers or Muay Thai fighters for a while, she wants to be a grappler on this circuit. So I think that's wise for her to build this level up. So when she comes back, she's even better in this position, and she could probably try to go for 3-time world champion. You know what I mean? That's what I'm just saying. Like, if she wants to keep competing, you got to find a fire, and that's what I think she's doing right now. And like I said before, don't be surprised now, like with her bulking up, you see her getting these muscles because she's always got there gardening and everything, and doing all that farm labor. Don't be surprised if she actually took a crack at 125, because it adds up. She's building on physical strength, talking about putting more muscle on. 125 is not out of the question, and 125 is a grappler heavy division, like I always say. So you might see her take one little crack at 125, or maybe a few until she gets to the belt. You never know, right? Hey, if Grasso can do it, I think Rose could do it. Rose is long, she's tall. She could put on the muscle, and the better her grappling gets, she might feel confident about trying to stick around if it works out one time. You never know. All right. So yeah, good on her. Good on her if that's what she wants to do. Okay. So yeah, moving on, sticking with the strawweight division. Yan Xiaonan. Let's talk a little bit about Yan Xiaonan, y'all. So good news for us fans that want to just see the division moving the way it was already going, and we didn't want to see anybody swoop in. Like, let's basically say Lemos fans, right? Good news for the Lemos fans and the hardcore fans. As we know, Lemos is getting her fight with Zhang Weili. But in the meantime, Yan Xiaonan definitely put herself in the mix. Definitely put herself in the mix with that first round knockout over Jessica Andrade. Did a lot of us see that coming? No. I saw Yan Xiaonan winning, but in the fashion that she did, it did shock me a little bit. It did. So when you look at what she did, it's definitely worthy of mentioning, to say this person might be ready for the belt now with 2 solid wins in a row, same as Lemos. On top of that, with the China market being a very, very profitable thing right now, she could definitely swoop in, right? But as of now, that fight is on hold. So that's fine with me, because I think Yan needs to get some more work in before she jumps back in against the champion. But when the fight was mentioned, Yan Xiaonan did go as far as to say that she met with Dana White in the locker room after the fight, and he said, "Let's do it in China." He said, "We can make a UFC China event. Let's pull it off." And that's what Yan Xiaonan had to say. He said, "Let's do it in China." So I guess he didn't mean like right away, but hopefully, if Zhang Weili's successful in her title defense against Lemos, they can do it, right? So that's motivation for both fighters. Yan can go back to the drawing board and work for the next 5-6 months. And Zhang Weili, she has inspiration to go in there and fight harder against Amanda Lemos, right? Because Yan said, I think it's possible probably at some point at the end of the year, because China's fully open now. Everything's back to normal. So I think, yeah, it's possible, very likely. Like she said, at the end of the year. So, Zhang Weili's not going to sit out for a year and some change, right? So it makes sense she's going to come back. Okay. Then she goes on to say, I think I have more haters, because she believes that Zhang Weili is going to be the heavy rooting favorite for Chinese fans, which I believe too. She said, I think I have more haters in China than people who like me. They only know who is the champion, and they don't know about others. And that's surprising. That's kind of surprising. So when she says it that way, I guess China versus China, they won't have a hard time picking the favorite, right? Because Zhang Weili said before that she think the fans will be torn, but from the way Yan Xiaonan speaks, it's like people don't really know her, give her the credit, right? It seems like people don't really know her, give her the credit as being a UFC superstar as well. You know what I mean? Like, Zhang Weili seems to be the favorite all around, and that's what it seems like too. Like, when you mention Zhang Weili, everybody comes to her defense. Even me, like, I'm a fan, but when I'm critical of her, people, they like to throw shots at me on my channel. They jump on a podcast, they like to talk trash to me. But I know what I'm talking about, so I don't take it to heart. It's just that, yeah, I can see what she means. Like, people try to make me a villain on my channel, if I have constructive criticism of Zhang Weili. So I could understand, yeah, Yan Xiaonan might have haters like that. So with that being said, is Yan Xiaonan possibly going to be a villain in this fight? She could be. I mean, as far as her personality, I don't think so. I think she seems sweet. She seems like a nice girl. She always is kind of, I won't say playing up to the camera, but she just seems naturally like a genuinely like a nice person. She trains, she shows up to fight. She just kind of does her thing, has her little moments, on her Instagram. You know, Seems like she's kind of like the cute girl. You know what I mean? Like Yan Jana has a cute personality about her, even the way she dresses. She just seems like that type of person. Doesn't always try to like act a fool or talk crazy. So she kind of seems genuine, even when she's saying this, that she knows her people. She knows that she would probably have more haters in China. So she's probably prepared to play the villain. So I think she could be out to be the villain. She could be made to be the villain. And I think she would be prepared to be the villain in this situation because she already knows that, Zhang Weili is a heavy favorite amongst people. She's heavily liked by everybody. So when you have somebody else, Chinese or not, she knows that they're going to want to see that person win and they're going to try to downplay you. So I think she's already preparing herself to say, you know what, I'm going to have a lot more haters than usual. So I'm going to just do what I do. Because she also said because Weili is the champ, she's the hero for our nation. So a lot of people can only see her, but just cannot see other fighters. So they may just underestimate me. And I just cannot share the love from the fans with Weili because she's a champion. All right. But this time, I just want to show everybody what I can do in the cage and just shut everybody up. And I respect her for that, man. I respect her for that. Like sometimes people look, sometimes champs, they'll be the people's favorite. You just have to do your thing. That's why I say, like, it don't matter. Like, just because two fighters are Chinese, it don't matter. Two Asians fight, don't matter. Two Mexicans don't fight it. People are always going to have their favorites. It's not going to be about, oh man, they're the same color, they can't fight. They're the same nationality, they can't fight. Nah, man, like it just comes down to who people like. Who people like. It's like, well, with Oscar De La Hoya and Julio Cesar Chavez, they're both Mexican, but they'll turn it into a war. The Mexicans, they'll like Chavez more because he's repping Mexico. They'll say that Oscar De La Hoya is a Mexican American, so that's their reason not to like him, right? Both Mexicans, but they can't rep him because he's not in the country. He's just a pretty boy. You know what I mean? He's just a pretty boy, Americanized Mexican. So the same can kind of be said what they do with Yan Jana. Yan Jana on her team is kind of mixed, right? She'll train at a Mayweather gym. I think her boxing striking coach is black, right? So she kind of steps out of the box. Whereas Zhang Weili, she's more to the roots. So her being that type of person, the champ, yeah, they possibly will like her more over there, right? I'm just saying, just calling it like it is, how we see things. As much as people say they don't see a nationality or color, they do. They really do. So yeah, I think there'll be a point where people do see Yan Janan as a villain, and she possibly will be booed, but she'll have to prepare for that. And I think she does. I think she will be. I think she will be. She came up this underdog in some of her last few fights, so I don't think it'll ever bother her. She always kind of seems like the one that just wants to be her and work with the people that want to work with her, and they kind of keep it moving from there. She doesn't have the same fan base as Zhang Weili, but that doesn't seem to bother her. Like she said, she feels like people are going to underestimate her, and she can use that to her advantage. You know, and that's what makes me even more of a fan of her. She wants to keep doing her thing and just fight, and she wants to be champion too. She's not going to play second fiddle to Zhang Weili. Like respect to Zhang Weili, but I know she kind of felt like the people won't like this because they'll see, and that's her humble opinion. She says that the people won't want to see them fight because they're the same, and the fans will be torn. But Jan's being a little bit more honest. She's like, nah, like I know different. Like the people know you because you're the champion and they want you to win, right? That's why they like you, but they don't really know me. So if I come along, they'll kind of hate. And it's true. Like I said, the Zhang Weili fans, they tend to get protected when you talk about their fighter. You know what I mean? Like I said, over here on my channel, they'll do it to me. They'll do it to other fighters. When you start to say, I got the key to beat her, they get mad. They get mad, So Yan Zhana, she knows what she's talking about. So I'm just hoping the best for her in this fight. I'm hoping that she can get to a point like this, where she can fight for the belt and show her best. I'll be torn whoever fights in that one because I like them both, but we'll see. Um, Yeah, okay. She also said that our relationship is good, it's very healthy. She's referring to Whaley. So we talk with each other, and each time before her fight or my fight, we'll say good luck to each other. But some people on social media, they just want to twist the reality and try to create some tension and beef in us and amplify that to let the audience feel that we have problems with each other. All right. So yeah, like she said, it always comes back to the people. Like they don't have beef, you know, but Yan Jana knows that Wei Li will be the favorite. She will be the hero because again, it's the people. The people amplify this type of stuff. Again, like I said, that's proof. Just like I said, they'll twist the reality and they'll try to amp it up. There is no beef between the fighters, but there'll be beef between the MMA fans, right? There'll be beef because the Wei Li fans will go crazy. They'll go crazy if you talk about her. So it's all between them, but like between them, there's just a mutual respect. Their relationship is fine. They'll say good luck. Everything's good there. She said, okay. She also said, I just showed everybody how strong I am. I just also showed everybody that I have improved. I think it's going to be a very exciting fight, and that will make people in China crazy. I think fans will definitely love this fight because it's me and Wei Li, two girls from China for the gold. We are the number one and number two in the world. We are the best of the best. Okay. Yeah. So overall, yeah, people will like her. I think, they will respect this. So keeping it in house, I still think that will be a big part of it too. China versus China. But we all do know that Wei Li's going to be the heavily favorite. And I think she knows that. So um, hopefully this thing, I want to say hopefully it can happen, but that Wei Li Lemos fight is in the mix now. So that's just another thing, man. That's really just another thing. I'm happy that fight is happening though. I really am happy that fight is happening because, to prove you're the best, Wei Li's definitely got to do her thing. She's got to come on strong and do her thing, man, and get these type of wins to build her legacy. You know, but yeah, Yan Zhanan, I think that she is getting better as a fighter. To be she needs to be taken seriously out there, y'all. She definitely needs to be taken seriously, and I think that even though there will be some haters, like she feels, I think she will still build a strong fan base, even in China, as well as around the world. Because, like I said, she's definitely got a fan growing over here. So yeah, let me know what y'all think in the comments section. All right. So moving on, still keeping it straw weight, still keeping it straw weight. Let's see what we got here. Hang on, y'all. Give me 1 second here because I want to talk about some more straw weight business here. Well, what did y'all think of like Yan Zhanan's quick evolution, since the Carla Esparza loss? Like, I really respect her growth though. I've really been respecting how she's just improving as a fighter, like how she's taking her time to really understand what's wrong. Some fighters don't do that. Some fighters just don't do that. They'll think that everything is all good. We can keep moving the same way. But it can't be done that way. You have to be humble and say, this is what I need to change. This is where I need to grow. You have to take that time out, be humble, and say, this is what needs to be worked on in our camp. And speaking of that, let's talk a little bit about Marina Rodriguez. Y'all know I'm a fan of Marina. Marina Rodriguez. I think she's a very good fighter, one of the toughest. She's fought just about everybody in the division. Has a very good resume, but along the way, you know, um, styles will be figured out. And as much as I'm watching Marina and appreciating her as a fighter, I still critique her as a fan too. And that's normal. Like there's no disrespect there. That's just normal for us to do. That's just normal for us to do as fans. Like it's just like with our favorite movies or series. We'll say if an episode is good of a show. You know what I mean? Like, oh, that show's good. But last week's episode wasn't very good. Last week's episode kind of sucked. You know what I mean? We'll be like, hey, what happened to the writers? They need to go back to the drawing board or something like that, right? Doesn't mean that we won't support them. We just want to see the best for them. And that's kind of where I'm with Marina Rodriguez. Like throughout her career, I've been seeing her do a lot of good things, but with the situations that she's been put in, on the ground, I kept saying that, she needs to get better here. She needs to get better. Like, she's a good defensive grappler, but, she needs to become more of an offensive grappler. She needs to get better with her takedown defense. I want to see more of her jab, I want to see more of a long jab from this long, tall fighter. Just a lot of different things, like, that's no disrespect. You just want to see better from that fighter, especially when you've been watching the fight game for so long and following this girl. So I look at Marina, like, I looked at her post a few days ago, like a week or so ago, when she said, I made it to the top, this is from Facebook, made it to the top 3 of one of the most intense divisions, strawweight division. I had some great moments, facing some great opponents. I'm sure defeats won't erase everything I've done. No, it won't. Everything I worked on and achieved so far, because I know that getting there here is not for everyone. This sport is of extreme complexity. It moves with a lot of things, and only us athletes know how hard it is, facing everything and everyone. We still climb in the cage with our heads held high to seek better for our lives. I want to leave here with my congratulations to Verna and her team, and knew how to take advantage of the moment and impose their game in this fight. She says, I deserve you. Yes, she said, you deserve it. And a message to those who from the couch come to speak ignorant and superficial things to athletes who do not win as they would like, that if one day you have the courage to test yourself in life to overcome some obstacle that seems insurmountable, you will really understand what each of us professional athletes go through all our working days. I said every day. All right. Thanks to everyone who's always cheering us for us to this day. So yeah, it's not always about like cheering either. Like, yeah, always cheering for a fighter like that when you're a fan of them, but when things aren't going their way, you can't help but say what's wrong. You know what I mean? It's just like she said, we deal with everyday life, which I do, making business moves and things like that, and work choices and things of that nature. Everybody has to make choices to get better. Like, you'll stop and think, say, okay, why am I not progressing here? Well, I'm doing the same thing over and over. It's working for a while, but eventually I'm going to need to evolve. And that's what it comes down to. Like, everybody will know exactly what an athlete is talking about, even if it doesn't pertain to fighting. You know what I mean? If you've been through certain things in life where you have to evolve. Like, when you have to evolve in life, it's the same as fighting. You have to evolve to a situation. If you don't, you fall back, you fall, right? So when a lot of people do watch their fights on the couch that know life and not just there for harsh criticism, they understand that, oh, Marina, she's going through what I'm going through in life. You know what I mean? Like, she's doing good right now, but I'm seeing mistakes there. And if she don't change it now, she'll fall. Just like people do when they don't keep up with business. You don't keep up in the computer world. Like, you don't keep up with, different softwares, and you don't stay updated, your product will fall, and then you'll go bankrupt. You'll stay afloat for a while, but when your product falls because everybody else is evolving around you, you're gone. You know what I mean? So when somebody has those type of experiences, they sit back and saying they see that through the fight game. That's why a lot of people watch the fight game. Not necessarily because we punch people every day, but we see what they do as similar to what we do in life. You know what I mean? Like, we're doing the same thing. We get up, train, work hard for certain things. You have to get up to perform, and we fall sometimes. Sometimes we accomplish things, sometimes we don't. But it's kind of like that because we feel like we're getting beaten up in this corporate world or something like that. And we have to go home and, think about it sometimes. Sometimes we do good, sometimes we don't, you know? So it is a similar situation. Like, again, there are trolls. There are people who just say, oh, you suck. You're a tomato can. You're a bum. There are a lot of people that talk like that. But the ones that really care about a fighter, they're not just going to sit back and lie and say, oh, yeah, you're the best all the time. We're cheering you on all the time. No, like, if they start criticizing you, there's something there that needs to be changed. And that's why I say with Marina, like, I like Marina as a fighter, but I know myself that if she doesn't get to a certain point in her career now, after losing in this fashion of Verna Jandiroba, which the signs were there before with Dern, Calvillo, Randall Marcos, Carla Esparza, she'll continue to fall because these girls are coming up. Verna, Tatiana, Jillian Robertson, all these fighters, they're getting better with every Jana. They're getting better with their grappling than their wrestling. They're taking it there. So I understand where Marina's coming from. There's frustration there, but yeah, when the fans see a certain thing that are real fans, they're not going to be yes men and just say, "Oh, this is what you need to do." No, like again, we liken it to the corporate world or the fight world. People with like us with fight experience, we'll say, "Hey, if I do the same thing over and over, my next opponent, he's gonna figure me out and he's gonna knock me out or beat me, because I'm not changing. You got to be ever growing in this game, you know." I know it can be uncomfortable, but for Marina, she definitely got to make some change. Like she got to let the jab go more. She got to work on that takedown defense, get physically stronger. Just start working it out a little bit more, become a little bit more bulky in there, where she can handle girls. Start to work on her clinch control. Don't let these girls just run right over and accept takedowns. I know she can defend submissions. She's very good at that, but you're still losing rounds. So that's all I'm saying, man. Like when I see Marina post that, I'm just kind of like, no, they're trolls. There are trolls out there that'll bash you, but then there's other people that mean well, like myself, who will see you as a fighter and say, oh yeah, you need to grow here. So hopefully she plans on it. Her next post, next day, she said the game's not over, no way. So yeah. With that being said, told you about it. I told you time and time again, fans of the show and of Marina, of the sport of WMMA, fighters like Marina, they can grow, they can make it as long as they accept what they need to grow at. As long as they can accept their lack of diversity in there right now. If they go back and say, yeah, maybe if I throw a little bit more volume, maybe if I get a little bit stronger and really work on my takedown defense instead of accepting takedowns. So, maybe I could get a little better. And I'm sure there has to be people in her camp telling her that. Maybe she needs to change it up. I don't know. But it's there. Like I said, I'll probably do a separate video talking about this where I flesh it out a little bit more. But I wanted to come on this episode and just kind of read through that Facebook post and just talk about her last performance, because like I said, the signs were there. Much like you see in business, like when there's certain things you just aren't doing right and other people are watching, they're licking their chops because they know where they can capitalize. The signs are there. And if you don't evolve, things like this happen. So I'm wishing Marina the best, man. I'm hoping that she bounces back. I think she should fight down from here, maybe like Luana Pinheiro or somebody like that, just to kind of get a confidence win. But from here, I think, she really needs to get in there with like ATT, somebody like Joanna, work on that takedown defense. I know they were supposed to fight, but Joanna has great takedown defense. She has the best takedown defense ever at 115. So hopefully she can, perfect that takedown defense and even work on her wrestling. Just a lot of good fundamentals like that she needs to build on. And even with her boxing, start jabbing more. She got that lack of a jab and straight right hand sometimes. That's why a lot of fighters run in on her. Start pumping that jab out. So it's just like basic things, just basic things. I want to see her do better. I want to see her do better. I want to see her do well, man. So yeah, let me know what y'all think though. Like I said, sometimes I get caught up into it, man, as like a fan of the fight game. Speaking as like a cornerman, you'd be like, dang, man, if they would just do this, they'd do that, and they would work on this, they'd be better. And then I know the fighters, they'd be like, oh, you don't do it. I've done it. And like I said, I liken it to life choices as well. Because like I always say, boxing is life, fighting is life. We don't fight the same way every day, but shoot, we got our problems too. And we make adjustments every day. And I know if you don't make adjustments, you will fall. All right. And speaking of falling, same thing can be said with Andrade. I won't spend too much time here because it's the same situation. I think Andrade's style, I've not been harsh calling it obsolete, but I do think that with almost 10, 11 losses now, there has to be a point of improvement with her, because the sharper the fighter, the more determined the fighter, they will start knocking her out consecutively. They will finish her consecutive times. Aaron Blanchfield and Jan Jana. I don't think, has Andrade ever been finished this many times in a row? I'm not looking at the resume right now, but has she been finished this many times in a row? Let me check the resume. Hold on. No, she hasn't, right? She always able to bounce back with a good solid win. I don't think she's ever been knocked out like that or finished, 2 times in a row. Let me check the resume, y'all. Because if this is, that's what I'm saying, this is a big sign for her. This means that you need to start slowing it down and become a little bit more technical in there. Yeah, she's 11 losses now. Last 2 fights were finished. She got finished. Yeah, she got finished by Wei Lee. Then she lost a split decision to Rose. So she's lost back to back, but she's never been finished 2 times in a row. Yeah, never in her career she's been finished 2 times in a row. That's a sign. That is a big sign right there. The Aaron fight, people say was short notice, but still, that's a sign, man. That's a sign that people are figuring her style out. You can't just try to bum rush people anymore. They're figuring this out. Like I figured it out a long time ago while watching her that, you know, when she steps in off balance, she's wide open to be hit, and the power's not there as much when she steps off of the balls of her feet. When she unloads the second and third punch, she's not as hard of a puncher. The first punches are hardest. So fighters that know how to use a good jab and they know how to turn footwork and they don't mind staying in the pocket with her because they can make her miss and they can counter, they'll take her apart. And then the same thing with the grappling. Like she don't really grapple anymore. Like Andrade is kind of like became just this massive monster puncher or, just this fighter that can slam. She's become just a knockout artist and a slam artist. She started believing in that, feeling like she didn't have to change. But along the way, like I said, fighters that have good technical skills, they will use those abilities and use what she has against her. Like her momentum off balance like that, the way she was off balance in this fight, she did all the work. Zhang just had to plant the perfect punch. Probably didn't even throw it as hard as like Wei Lee did, but Zhang just was accurate. Andrade did all the other work. She came straight in and met the punch halfway, so knocked herself out. If you'd say, right, she knocked herself out. So I just think that Andrade, what she has was exciting for the period that it was working for, but when the losses come like this, it's time to start slowing it down and start becoming more technical. Yeah, it's good. She's strong. Start using that as like a wild card. Start using the punching power as like a plan B or plan C. Become more technical. Start going in there like Carla, working on her wrestling. See Carla's same height, lacks the power and the strength, but she can wrestle. The girl can wrestle like hell. You know what I mean? So she needs to go back to those basics. Low center of gravity, become that starfish where she can latch on and pull you down and start grappling again. Because Andrade hasn't grappled in a long time, and when she has, she's come up short. So she needs to go back to those basics too, being a technical grappler, wrestling a little bit more, setting her takedowns up with good hooks. Don't get so emotional when she gets hit. Stop trying to get back right then. Stop trying to get revenge when you get touched. She's always getting pulled into brawl mode when she get touched. So, there's a lot of things like she needs to do to slow it down to be able to get back to the championship status. She won't get back to championship status if she keeps fighting this way. Because everybody's figured it out at the top. Rose. I was gonna say Carla, but no, not Carla. Rose, Wei Lee, Zhang, they figured that style out. Then you got Tatiana, who's be taking on Werner here soon. Never know, she might run into Andrade and finish her too. So fighters that just spend so much more time on the ground and working on their technical striking, there'll be a problem for. So yeah, Andrade has a lot of work to do now. It's the jig is up. It's almost like up. No, these girls ain't gonna be scared of that power anymore. That's a thing of the past. These girls are evolving and they're on a mission. They on a mission. They ain't taking no for an answer anymore. Okay. So yeah, that's where I'm at with Andrade too. Like I've always enjoyed her performances, but when you start looking the same and just fighting off emotion like this, I mean, she fought well in that Lauren Murphy fight. Where was that? Where was the, I know they're two different fighters, but where were the leg kicks? Where were the combinations? But nah, man, she got drawn into 2017, 2016 on drive whenever Zhang started cracking. So that's something she has got to go back and do, control her mental, and start not from scratch, but just being more technical, right? All right. So yeah, man, moving on here. When you see improvements, you get fights like this. When you see improvements, you get fights like this, man. Fighters like this, they want to get better, and they do. I know that Lemos did lose to Andrade, but she came right back that same year, like a few months later, and said, you know what, that's not me. There's still a mission here. She was humbled, humiliated in that fight a little bit, but hey, she came right back and said, nah, man, this is me right here. I'm not taking that for no for an answer. I got to get better as a fighter. And that loss, it was kind of, like, okay, that's Andrade. But since then, Lemos has always had her own type of technique and her own type of style. So when she racked up her wins against Rodriguez and Waterson, I was like, yeah, this girl can be some threat for the champ because Whaley's not Andrade and vice versa. So with what she's packing and what Whaley's packing is going to make for a good fight. So I'm glad they made this fight. Saturday, August 19th, 292. Good co-main event. Could be the main event in my opinion, but I ain't going to argue with that as long as we get in the fight. As y'all know, Whaley's coming off her 2 victories. Carla and Joanna, both finishes. And Lemos, Rodriguez, Waterson, both finishes. So what better fight to make? Jana's a good one. She did beat Dern and finish Andrade, but like I said, she did it first. She's ranked number 4 now, Lemos, but Jana, I believe, is 3. But still, this is a fight I want to see because I think this one's going to make Whaley have to face her demons a little bit again, as far as fighting a very sharp technical striker with devastating power. She's going to have to find that entryway. She's going to have to find her way around that power, neutralize the left hook and the right hand of Lemos. Watch out for those calf kicks. Be wary of the jiu-jitsu on the ground. She's going to have to be all around alert in this type of fight, even more so than the Carla fight, because there's no danger in the Carla fight of like being overpowered, in any of those fields. This fight here, the power is real of Lemos. I think if Lemos continues to work on her rhythm and not swing big, she'll be able to set traps, so that has to be a key for Whaley here. You have to be on guard in this type of fight. For Lemos, her being the older fighter here and dealing with like a cardio machine now, like Whaley, she's going to have to get respect early from a champion. It's her first title fight at 115. Whaley's fought at a high level, so Whaley's expecting you to bring that respect. She's dealt with those high level fighters. You can't show any sign of folding. You can't show any sign of like any type of sign of like fear. She's fought in those girls that fight tooth and nail, like Rose, Joanna, Andrade, Tisha Torres, those type of girls that are tough and durable. So for Lemos, got to go in there and make her get, make her respect you. Make her get into that mode where she second guesses herself. Lemos got a lot of experience. She's strong. She's got power. It comes down to her fighting a very smart fight where she can dismantle Whaley to me. Because I think Whaley can win this thing on points with strength and a lot of like ground control. So for Lemos, it's got to be smart point fighting to the point she can get an early knockout. Because 5 rounds favors Whaley to me. It really does. Lemos, I think if she was to fight a 5-round fight, it's got to be her like just busting Whaley up over and over throughout rounds, busting her up and keeping the jab in her face and just fighting a tie clinch type of fight and a rangy fight. But Lemos got to be on her game, got to get the respect early from Whaley. Can't spin round after round, getting controlled here. So I think we're looking at a good fight, y'all. Y'all got to give this fight respect. I know everybody wanted China versus China, but no, this one's real, man. This one's going to be a good fight. I'm glad it's not the same, like somebody brought up in the chat a little while ago when they said that the last the last few title fights have always included the same people: Rose, Carla, Andrade, or Joanna, right? Rose, Carla, Joanna, well, yeah, and Wei Lee, right? Those same people over and over. Well, not Carla got thrown into the mix later because it's been 8 years since she held the belt, right? So, not Carla. It's mostly Rose, Andrade, and Joanna. Those championship fights were always those fighters, right? So now we got a different look in Lemos. Like I told you, I knew eventually Lemos would get here. Lemos has been really working and getting better as a fighter. Andrade was a little setback, but yeah, I believe that Lemos would get here at some point. Now, let's see if she can get the belt. That's the next step. If she does, I can tell you, I told you so all the way through. But yeah, man. Yeah, the strawweight division is shaking up again. It's live. It's lit. I'm liking it. Even on the lower level here, we got some interesting fights this weekend. I've already discussed. Well, first off, we got this unranked flyweight fight: Natalia Silva and Victoria Leonardo. Um, good to see Silva back. I don't know if this is like a huge test for her. It depends if Leonardo shows up. If Leonardo shows up, then I think, hey, we might be in for a fight. But I think Silva's going to be painting the picture in this one. I think she's just on a different mission right now. She's been looking good, looking like a brand new fighter since she's been in the UFC. Like I said, I picked Silva in this one. The other fights are all strawweight fights, unranked fights, good fights too. The Carolina Demopoulos fight, I like it. Carolina's a veteran. I think she needs to keep this fight standing. She does. I think she wins it. Demopoulos, though, a lot of heart in this girl. Solid right hand. Dangerous on the ground. Very athletic. No quit in her. You know, just very, very athletic like that, too. That's why I said when she gets you to the ground, she's very flexible. So Carolina needs to look out for that. I think Carolina needs to fight a smart striking fight, keep it at a distance, and pick her apart. So we're looking at a evenly matched fight to me. It all depends on who shows up. We're gonna see some lumps in this fight, though. We're gonna see some mice on the eyes in this fight for real. So I think that's gonna be a good fight. Carolina wants it, but Demopoulos wants to take on a veteran. It's good action. But this right here is a low key banger, y'all. Dakota Lupi. I'm kind of rocking with Dakota in this one. I think that Dakota, she's a little bit more technical with hers, straighter punches. She's got the experience. But, Lupi's always dangerous. Got the power, the hooks. She's kind of been lacking in the wrestling department in the last couple of fights. Will she lack again because of the short notice? I don't know. She's lost all her short notice fights, I believe. She's undefeated in full training camps. So we'll see how this plays out. We'll see if Dakota can keep the jab in her face and just kind of pick her apart. But I think there's going to be blood on both sides in this fight because these girls, they fight, man. They fight. It's going to be a banger. This is probably the fight I'm looking forward to. Size-wise, style-wise, they just match up well. So, yeah, I'm looking for a good fight with these two. The main event, Dern Hill, is going to be interesting. Dern is 0-2 in main events, so we'll see if Dern can kill that losing streak. She's kind of fighting her way down because she's kind of regressing, in her last couple fights, whereas Angela Hill just beat two prospects, moves her up, so now they're meeting in the middle. Angela Hill's last two victims are on this card, Lupi and Dakota, right? So with that, I think Angela Hill is bringing in a newfound confidence. Been using a good jab in her last fight. Very good jab, good combinations. No reason for her not to bring it into this fight because jab and combinations is what you want to use on Dern, who doesn't really strike well and has the best jiu-jitsu. I would say, yeah, some of the best jiu-jitsu, most dangerous jiu-jitsu. That's more incentive for Angela Hill to stay on her feet. right? Stay on her feet. Stay on her feet in this fight. That's all I can say. I know Hill said that she wants to possibly submit her if it goes down, and she'll attack if she drops her. I think she should stay on her feet. Stay on her feet in this fight. Mackenzie Dern, though, got a long ways to go when it comes to her wrestling and her footwork, but we'll see if she's made those right improvements. Because, yeah, if she wants to actually win a main event and stay on those main event cards, she better win this one. As for Angela Hill, she thinks she's been disrespected as far as the rankings. I think it's more the judges, which then goes into the rankings because the judges are always taking her wins. Because I believe she won the Claudia Gadelha and the Waterson fight. So she's been robbed a number of times, I think. Well, I won't say robbed. Her opponent's been gifted somewhat. We'll say that. But I believe if she wins this fight, this will put her in a good place. If Angela Hill wins this fight, I think this will put her at the highest she's been in a long time. So with that, I think Angela Hill might get this one, man. I do. I think that she's on a different level right now, mind wise and mental wise. So we'll see, y'all. So yeah, interesting card though. A little trivia here. I know they brought this up. Somebody brought this up in a trivia question. They said the two, which I already knew, the two Invicta champions on this card, of course, are Angela Hill and Dakota, because when they fought, we said two former strawweight Invicta champions, right? But we also have the two former LFA champions on here, two LFA strawweight champions, Vanessa Demopoulos and Lupe Godinez, because Demopoulos lost it to Godinez. So yeah, you got two strawweight LFA champions and two Invicta strawweight champions on this card. All right. So yeah, let me know in the comment section who y'all got. Like I said, y'all probably already told me on the other stream. I just wanted to make a quick run through on the podcast. Other than that, that's about all I got for tonight. I think I covered everything in an hour, which is what I wanted to do. So yeah, man. Final thoughts though. I think we got some good fights coming up, and we got some good strawweight fighters on the come up. And the reason we got some good fighters coming up is because they understand the deal. Like, it's all about improving as a fighter. It's all about evolving. Once you start to get figured out, it's time to start add more to your arsenal. You got to grow. You got to evolve. If you don't, you'll stay at a plateau or you'll fall. You know what I mean? Other than that, this weekend, y'all, it's my birthday weekend, so I won't be doing a fight companion. I wasn't actually going to be dropping another video, but this is pre-recorded, so this is the last video I'll do until like maybe Sunday or Tuesday. Yeah, probably like Sunday or Tuesday. Oh yeah, boxing wise, I got boxing to watch. Devin Haney and Vasyl Lomachenko, so it's a big weekend for boxing. Then we got Katie Taylor and Chantel Cameron, two undisputed champions fighting different weight classes. So it's gonna be a wild one, y'all. It's gonna be a wild with a lot of stuff to catch up on when I get back from my birthday getaway. Like I said, coming up on this 40, I had to go do something big this time, because it was a crazy year for me. 39 was a crazy year. And, coming up on 40 just tells me that you better enjoy life. That's what it's been telling me. So yeah, guys, I'm getting up out of here. Like always, make sure y'all subscribe to the YouTube channel. Hit the thumbs up. And when I get my website back up and running here, get back on it, I'll start uploading the shows back on the website, cb99talks.com. And that's where it'll come up on iTunes and Spotify, Stitcher. But yeah, follow me on those platforms there, y'all. Y'all like WMMA and want to support them. Not just on YouTube, but follow on those platforms. All right. And oh yeah, shout out to BJ, No Filter MMA. I am now the No Filter MMA trivia champion. I won this time, legit. I should have won last time, but I ain't gonna say nothing. I ain't gonna say nothing about last time. Not Taylor. What is his name? Why did I say Taylor Loader? I was thinking of Taylor Loader, but Jacob Janowski. Jacob Janowski was the former, he was champ last time out, and he was a good champ. He won it last time. All right. But I got that belt now. We're 1-1 now, me and Jacob. So whenever that third time comes around, hey, it comes around. Right now, I'm that champ over there. No Filter MMA champion. I like those trivia games though, BJ. Yeah, keep on doing them things, man. I like that about the channel. Keep on doing that, man. But other than that, guys, I'm getting up out of here. Enjoy the weekend. Enjoy the fights. And I know y'all be commenting. Y'all be commenting on the community pages somewhere about these fights, but I probably won't be on the channel, throughout the weekend because I'm gonna be chilling. Might sneak a peek here and there on the fights, but no fight companion. No fight companion this weekend, y'all. So with that being said, Combo Breaking 99, I'm out. Subscribe, peace.